Hi there, I'm Jennifer from my-colorado-kitchen.com, where I bring from scratch recipes straight from my Colorado kitchen to yours. Today we are going to be making some barbecue chicken quesadillas. So this recipe was born out of my daughter's love for barbecue. She loves all things barbecue sauce. Go to a barbecue restaurant and this girl will eat you under the table with ribs and barbecue chicken and pork. It is crazy and insane and awesome at the same time. So I wanted to make her a barbecue chicken quesadilla, as honestly she won't eat a regular Mexican quesadilla or even just a cheese quesadilla. So we're gonna make it a little extra fancy, and it's fun, it's easy, it's delicious. Not something you would completely think of when you think of a quesadilla, but the barbecue chicken in the quesadilla with the tortillas is so good. All right, let's get started. So we're gonna cook our chicken first. We're gonna use 1 pound of a boneless, skinless chicken breast. I like to use organic chicken, and we're going to cook that. I'm gonna cook that in a pan, so I like to do it in a cast iron pan. My favorite way to cook this chicken is to put it in the pan with some butter. So you'll need about a tablespoon or 2 of butter in that pan. You'll cook that chicken. We're gonna sprinkle some salt and pepper on it, and we're gonna sear it on both sides. And then while it's still raw in the middle, we'll bring it to our cutting board. We'll cut it in about 1/2-inch pieces, and then we'll put it back in our pan till it's nice and golden brown on all sides. And the reason I love to cook our chicken this way is because it still stays nice and juicy, but then also gets that caramely flavor on all sides. Versus if you cut it ahead of time, one, I think it's harder to cut, but if you cut it ahead of time, then I feel like you lose some of that juiciness in that chicken. So first we're gonna put that butter on our hot skillet. Once that butter is nice and all melted and bubbling, then we're gonna add our chicken to the pan. We're gonna add some salt and pepper to that chicken. How much salt and pepper is really up to you. I love a little bit more salt, you may not, so it's up to you on how much salt and pepper you want for that chicken. Then we're gonna let that chicken cook on that first side. We'll flip it over halfway until it's seared on both sides. And then we'll bring it back to our cutting board and cut it. All right, so our chicken is nice and seared on both sides, so we're gonna bring that over. We're gonna cut it into the 1/2-inch chunks, and then we'll put it back in our pan to caramelize on all of those little pieces. We're gonna cut that chicken into 1/2-inch pieces. And you can see that our chicken is not quite cooked all the way through, which is just perfect, what we wanted. So we're going to cut it in those 1/2-inch pieces. We're gonna put it back on that pan. It'll finish cooking, caramelize all of those sides, but still retain so much of that juice that we love in chicken. All right, and we'll return that chicken to the pan. And while that chicken finishes cooking, we're gonna wanna make sure that we have our cheese ready. So you will need cheddar cheese, which I already have shredded here. And then you're also going to need Parmesan cheese. So for 1 quesadilla, we're gonna use a 1/2 cup of cheddar cheese total and a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. It depends on your tortilla size, so if you need to adjust that up or down, obviously do that to your liking. But I found that it's a good ratio with the chicken and any other toppings that you might wanna put in there with the cheese amounts. And while that chicken is finishing cooking and our cheese is ready, we need to preheat our skillet that we're going to use. In this case, I'm going to use a cast iron griddle. It will allow me to cook the quesadillas perfectly. It's nice and flat. It makes it easy to flip them. You can use just a regular cast iron skillet if you would like, or another pan if that's all you have. So use what you have, no big deal, but I will link that cast iron griddle in the description below. To make this quesadilla, we're obviously going to need some tortillas. So So I highly suggest that you make your own tortillas. I will link the video in the description below of the homemade sourdough tortillas that I have a recipe for. I promise you it is so easy. You mix all the ingredients up, you ferment it on your counter overnight, and then the next day you can just cook those tortillas. You can even make a huge batch and put some in the freezer, bring them out when you wanted, like to make this quesadilla, whatever works best, but they are so good. Look at these tortillas, amazing. So we're going to use some tortillas. If you do not want to make your own tortillas, I do understand that from time to time you cannot do that, fit it in your schedule. I get it. The only thing I would say is I would recommend that you would buy organic tortillas, as just the wheat is going to be so much better. They're going to usually have much better ingredients in them. They're still not perfect. They obviously have a lot more of the additives in them, but better than the non-organic ones if you can't make them yourselves. You'll want to get the 6 to 7 inch size tortillas. That's what I recommend for this. If you want to do the huge burrito ones, totally fine as well. You can make them that big if you want on the recipe that I'll link for the sourdough tortillas, or you can just make them, we just call this regular taco size. So whatever's best for you, whatever you have, whatever works easiest would be great. But this recipe and what I'll show you is going to be based on like that 6 to 7 inch tortilla. And once our chicken is done cooking, we're just going to turn off the burner on our stove and just gonna let it sit there as we're going to pull that in, obviously, to our quesadillas. If you wanted in this recipe, if you didn't want to cook the chicken fresh and you had a rotisserie chicken that you cooked that in the oven, or if you purchased one, you could use the rotisserie chicken. You could also use shredded chicken if it's something you had made. Sometimes I'll make some barbecue chicken sandwiches and we could use that shredded chicken as well. So it's up to you. This is just an easy way to start from beginning to end with the chicken. It tastes delicious. I like the chunks of the chicken versus the shredded chicken, but obviously up to you on what works best for your situation and your family at the time. And honestly, it can change week by week, and I understand that completely. So for assembling these quesadillas, I would highly recommend that you have everything ready to go to assemble them, because you don't want your tortilla to burn because you're like, oh, I forgot I needed to shred this cheese, or I don't have the right amount, or whatnot. So prep everything as much as you can ahead of time so that when you assemble that quesadilla, it is nice and easy, it's quick, and then those tortillas don't burn. So once our griddle or your skillet, whatever you're using to cook that quesadilla, is hot, add that butter to our skillet, and then we'll add our tortilla. Adding the butter in the skillet is just my easy, lazy way, whatever you want to call it, of not having to butter the actual tortillas. And that butter just helps it get that crispy, that crunchy that you're gonna love in that quesadilla. Then you're gonna take a 1/4 cup of your cheddar cheese. You're gonna sprinkle that around. You'll add the chicken. So in this case, 1 pound of chicken will probably cover about 4 quesadillas. So I do about 1/4 of that chicken. Obviously, it's just an estimate. Do whatever amount you would like to have stuffed in that quesadilla. Then you can add some optional toppings. So I like to either use some olives. I love black olives. I think it tastes super yummy in these quesadillas, but not everyone in my family agrees. So it's up to you on what your family likes or doesn't like. And then my husband's request is to add the jalapeños. So again, it's up to you on whatever works best for your family. Other things that you could do is you could dice up some onions and throw them in there. You could add some cilantro if you would like as well. So any of those toppings would be great. So after you add in that cheddar cheese, that chicken, then we're going to add in any optional toppings if you would like. For this video, I'm not going to do any toppings. We're just going to do the chicken and the cheese. Then I'm going to take barbecue sauce. This barbecue sauce is our favorite. It's the Kinder's brand. We have several different varieties of it. Honey Hot is, again, my husband's favorite because he loves hot things. And then Hickory Brown Sugar is another option as well. I really like the mild one, but that one always seems to be sold out wherever I go. So it's up to you on what you like. One day I will make my own barbecue sauce, but today's just not that day. So we are using the Kinder's brand. It is not the cleanest brand you can find, but it is one of our favorites as far as taste goes. It's not terrible, especially with the amount that we use. So you'll add the barbecue sauce on top. You add as much barbecue sauce as you would like. It's up to you. I would say 1 to 2 tablespoons is probably sufficient. I wouldn't overload it too much. You can always dip it in more barbecue sauce if you like that heavy barbecue sauce flavor. Then after the barbecue sauce, we're going to add another 1/4 cup of cheddar cheese and then a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese on top. We'll seal it with that top tortilla. And then I usually, by the time I get all of that assembled, I like to, if I can, immediately flip that quesadilla over so that that bottom tortilla isn't getting too warm or too burnt. I like to probably do it a couple times, letting it cook. I do like to keep my burners on that medium low so that way it doesn't cook those tortillas too fast and then it gets super brown and no one wants to eat the more burnt parts. So keep it low. It does take it a little bit of time to melt that cheese, but I promise you it's gonna be so worth it when that ooey gooey quesadilla is done. After that first quesadilla is done cooking, you can repeat all of these same steps with the same amounts for as many quesadillas as you would like. Obviously, this specific recipe and the recipe that I have on my website is meant to make 4 quesadillas, so that was the amounts that are given, but you can make as many as you need. You would just need to adjust the amounts of the ingredients. And once that tortilla is crispy on all sides and that cheese is nice and melty, then your quesadilla is done. I like to put mine right on a cutting board and then I'll slice it into usually 4 slices. Obviously you can repeat and make as many quesadillas as you would like for your family. Oh man, look at that melty cheese. It looks so good. You could dip these in ranch dressing if you would like, or more barbecue sauce, whatever you would like. It would be great. But I think they're perfect just on their own as well. So there you have it, barbecue chicken quesadillas. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you love this recipe and you want more easy meals made from scratch with real ingredients, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit that bell as I post new recipes each week and I don't want you to miss any. Also, make sure you check out my website at my-colorado-kitchen.com. You'll get the full printable recipe details there. And then let me know in the comments, what's your favorite kind of quesadilla? I'd love to hear from you. From my kitchen to yours, happy cooking.